Welcome to Sage Sisters. We are sisters, besties, moms, and co-founders having a fun catch-up on parenting and life. Hey, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kate. Hi, Ann. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How are you
Good
today?
to see you. I'm doing great. I am thrilled. We have a normal week. We had spring break last week, so we're back, baby.
Well, spring break, and you and I were traveling for work as well. You had a couple days. We came to you during your kids' spring break, but it was a lot. I'm excited for a normal week as well.
Normal week. Never been so excited. Yeah. I felt like all the moms were high-fiving in the drop-off this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like we survived spring break.
Yeah. It is awesome. True. It's like if you either have an amazing spring break like plan, or like I would like to know the percentage of people that have a good plan, actually, because we crushed our spring break, but this is the first spring break we've crushed since I can remember.
Okay, but you're still exhausted. Even if you went to Hawaii, even if you had the most cushy spring break plans, you're with your kids all the time, all week, and you're trying to make it special. And there's not one mom who isn't glad that her kids are back at school today and she can take a breath, have a normal week. I mean, I don't care if it was the cushiest, best planned spring break of your life. You're still excited to get them back, I think.
True that. I'm here for that. I feel that way.
True Debbie.
True Debbie. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's tease our topic before we get into the high and low today. Your topic week, what did you come up with?
Just really think that this statement says it all. The title of our podcast this week is so relatable and it just hurts in my soul.
Okay.
Why does the school calendar hate working moms?
Ooh.
Coming off of a travel work week when we had a lot of school activities, I'm feeling this one even more. Mm-hmm. But I just think it is not conducive to a working mother. And it's really hard even for a stay-at-home as well, which we'll get into because it just feels like your kids are either always home or you're having to just maneuver like childcare for a second or third kid at times.
Totally.
It all is hard. Okay. But like that's the topic for today.
Lots of meat on that bone. Lots of meat on that bone. Okay, before we go there, what's your high?
My high this week is, I alluded to it last week, we went to the Masters, Phil and I, with two friends of ours, and we had the best time. I have never been to the Masters before. And even if you are not a golf fan, the experience was out of this world, just so cool to be a part of. I now appreciate golf just a little bit more. And we went for a practice round, and seeing Augusta, seeing the actual course, how beautiful it is, everything is so dialed in.
Did you eat all the like specialty foods?
Yes. And just the way they do it. So there's stations of food and really nice restrooms all over the course. So you never felt like you didn't have something right there. Mm-hmm. And
not a porta potty in sight, or what were we talking about?
No, like really nice restrooms, like walk in. They have like people coming in and cleaning after each person uses the restroom. Thought that was a bit much, but it was really nice.
Lovely.
And you know, the food, you still pay for it, but everything's like $1. So you go through kind of an assembly line, like lunch line type of thing. So there's multiple lunch lines within one food stop, and they're all over the course. And you go in and they have all of the selections there. Egg salad, sandwich, pimento, barbecue.
Cheese is what I
they have the chicken biscuit in the morning. They have the breakfast sandwich in the morning. Yeah. So you just, cookies, everything you can just grab and go. And you go in this little assembly line, and they have beer, wine only. There was no seltzer. That was the report back. But you just, Gatorade, water, tea, coffee, everything. You just grab and go kind of assembly line. Mm-hmm. And then you pay, and everything's like $1. So you would, $5.
Why is everything $1?
I don't know why. What do you mean? You think it's free, or you think that?
No, I expected Augusta to be wildly expensive. I expected a $12 chicken biscuit.
Exactly. So you were gluttonous for no reason. It's like, look, listen, I just had a pork sandwich, but could I get the pimento cheese just to try it?
Because I can't imagine the tickets are cheap.
The tickets were not cheap. To be honest with you, we didn't pay for them. We got a lottery ticket through a friend. So I don't know.
I bet a lot of people do that. I was just thinking, I bet it's a lot of corporate tickets.
Yeah, a lot of corporate tickets. It was a lottery ticket, but it was just so nice. Everything was $1, $1.50. So anyways.
Even wine?
Oh yeah, everything was super cheap. So you just go through
that
and you're
add something to the experience. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I would almost rather pay for it in my ticket price up front.
Yeah.
Then because then you're there, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have my master's yellow sweater on. I had my outfit on point, which I talked about last time. It went well.
That is a nice color on you. Yellow's very hot right now, but I'm sort of loving the neon version. I've been seeing a lot of butter yellow, but I'm into the neon.
I mean, I really, you know me, I hate to toot my own horn. It's tough for me. But my outfit was so good that multiple people came up and said, like, oh my gosh, I love your outfit. It looks great. Because it was classy and cute, I thought. Uh-huh. And so we actually made it a drinking game. Anybody who came up to say, I like your outfit, we drank.
Who's we? Just you?
Me and my friend Melissa, but I pulled somebody in with me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Now, what is the guy to girl ratio? Because on TV, it looks pretty male heavy.
A little like I loved Purdue University. At least, Purdue was 60% men, 40% females. I thrived.
Yeah.
This was similar, probably more like 80-20.
Oh, great.
It was great. There was a lot of male groups, groups.
That's what my mental model, like get some of your golf buddies and go to the Masters.
Yeah. And some of them were like there was this group of cute older men that were all wearing matching Roan Azalea shirts. I think it's like the actual shirt that you can order online. It's called Azalea for the Masters.
Yep.
And then we actually played a second drinking game. Anybody wearing that shirt, we would drink.
Okay.
And then if we saw anyone wearing Lily Pulitzer outfit, we would drink. Yeah. And there was a lot.
There had to be. I was going to say that's a Southern classic staple.
Yeah. So we drank for all of those things.
So you were hammered off of wine.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing.
For drinking games. But anyways, the whole thing was super fun. The practice round 2 was even great because they have like a hole that you post up at 16. And the golfers, after they hit, they go up and like try to skip the ball across the water. And it's like a tradition. But it just made it fun and lively. And anyways, I digress because I could talk forever. But the Masters was such a great experience. Wonderful. Phil and I had a great time together. It was fun to have that moment together. So
I'd love to go at some point. I think it sounds very dreamy. Mm-hmm. And we watched it on TV, and even that was proved to make a great weekend. Like it's just
this one in particular too. Was like Rory was. It was just you were rooting for him. He even at the end missed. For anybody who's not watching this, he had a chance to win and missed the putt, and they have to go to like a one more like hole playoff. Mm-hmm. And he ended up winning. And so if he had lost it, it would have been a bad feeling, but it was almost like, oh, he really fought for it so much. It was really exciting to see.
Yeah. So I was happy for him too. Cool.
Yeah. So hi.
Love
How
it.
about you?
Well, we did have spring break last week and the parents came out, and man, are we lucky to have parents like that. But we had a wonderful trip to Bodega Bay. So again, I want to pat myself on the back, toot my own horn. I'm not afraid to say I like it. No flights. We just drove. It took 2 hours or less to get there. It was so easy. And we're blessed in California. There's so many local spots that are just lovely. So we went over there. Weather was like in the 60s, but the sun was shining. And so it felt warmer than that. Mm-hmm. And our kids are beach kids. There's no amount of time that's too much time at the beach for these two.
That's great.
So we basically every morning would go to the beach for 5 hours and then come back. We would go out for like different seafood lunch. We had fish tacos one day. We had clam chowder another. It was like just a dream. Yeah. So great seafood lunch out. Then we go back to the Airbnb that we rented and watch March Madness. Because this was
amazing. Yeah.
The front half of last week. So,
right.
I mean, I don't know. It was just the perfect combination. And then,
I like the going out for lunch and then staying in for dinner. That's a good plan with kids and family. And like, that sounds perfect.
Well, and I'm lucky my husband is a great cook, but he made some great meals. It was just cozy. And I felt like we got really good time with our parents. Like, I feel like the kids were able to have enough time to goof around and cuddle. And like, I don't know. I had all the feels, but I felt like we nailed it.
That's awesome. I love that.
It was the right amount of time. We stayed 3 nights, 4 days. Mm-hmm. That was also, the kids would have loved to stay longer. We had to come back, and you mentioned it. We had like a lot of work. Chris did too. So it was like kind of nice to have the parents here to help out for a few more days once we got back. Mm-hmm.
It seems like the best of both worlds. I wish we hadn't had the work trip for you. I felt bad having to pull you a little bit, but it seems like you planned it perfect as well as you could have to like execute both. So
yeah, a real vacation sounds dreamy. Like I did see a few pictures of people's trips that looked actually relaxing. I'm like, oh, what's that like? But
right.
The reality is like I slept in every day in Bodega.
Yeah, the parents love to get up and watch the kids, and you and Chris, I can see that sleeping in,
took
relaxing.
Full advantage. Maybe took advantage. Could be.
Yeah. Took.
Let's not have mom on here and ask her opinion of that. But we slept in, and it was. So I felt like it was good. At some point, I'd like a true vacation. But that time is not right before we launch an app and finish our fundraise.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true. So all in due time. All right, what was your low?
I have not even told you this yet, but it happened yesterday, and it was really scary. So I think the Pizzutis can't catch a break with injuries. But long story short, Lola and Ace have been riding their bikes a lot.
Yeah.
And we've kind of started to let them go a little bit like in a circle of our neighborhood. But there's always one rule, which is don't go down this big hill. And we are getting our roads paved by the city, which is really nice. But right now they're kind of like scraped and not paved.
This is in your neighborhood?
In our neighborhood.
Okay.
So long story short, Lola went down the big hill chasing after other kids. And she hit one of the sewers that was raised and flipped her bike. She did a full flip.
Oh my God. Is she okay?
She's okay. But it was a real check because her helmet in the back where she would have hit her head if she didn't have a helmet was cracked to the point it made me cry when I saw it.
Oh my God.
Like if this is not make your kids wear helmets no matter what. Yeah. Yes. Scooter, bike, they usually just go around this cute little loop in our neighborhood. This was like a random one-off situation. You know, it was just so scary. And her whole back is scraped up. But my goodness, am I thrilled to have just like dealing with scrapes. And it's so painful. But looking at that helmet, like I said, it was like such a moment of like, okay, we need to have a conversation with the kids. We need to really talk about safety again and reassess. Like if other kids are doing it, you are not allowed to do it still. Like don't be peer pressured into going down a big hill to chase other kids when you're not ready. So anyways, it was a super low. I'm blessed to say she's okay. Yeah. But the scare and just the still anxious feeling I have from it today is like, oh, awful. Awful.
Oh, that just gave me the chills. That's a nightmare. I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah, me too. So we can move on, but that was...
Well, I did one other high that I forgot to mention, but I want to mention it because I have talked about Calvin dealing with different anxiety things on this pod. One of the gremlins on his back has been a pedal bike. He has never tried it. And I'm like, I knew he would be fine because he can ride a balance bike with ease and he can go just as fast as the kids on a pedal bike. So he's been hanging. But we had family over, which was also lovely. Friday night, Chris's cousins and their family, and they got kids about the same age, but they have a 4-year-old boy. And I think seeing the 4-year-old on a pedal bike was just enough shame for him.
Yeah, and internally, This is how kids get motivated.
I know, but he came to me and Chris Saturday morning, and he was so cute. He like stood up, he like puffed his little chest. He goes, I'm ready.
Oh, that is cute.
And so Chris was so excited. And so we took him over to a parking lot so that he would have plenty of time. Like, you know what I mean? Just like feel the spaciousness of that. And we put the pedals on and he just took off. He just started riding. We didn't teach him. We didn't have to do any tricks. He finally tried it and he nailed it. And me, I just waterworks.
Yeah. Oh, good for him. That's so exciting.
So exciting. Yeah. What a breakthrough. So I feel like we're stacking wins over here for him in a way that I'm just like, let's go.
It makes you feel so good. Well, honestly, everybody has their own timeline. You know, you have been worried about this bike. It's just going to click one day. One day it did. I feel like that's happened with so many things with kids. It's just like in their own time, they will figure it out.
Well, and some kids will take risks and try it early and fail. That's just not his personality. And I got to just remember he'll do it when he's goddamn good and ready.
And he was ready.
And then he crushed it. So anyways, beyond thrilled, happy tears this weekend for my sweet boy.
I love it. Well, put a helmet on him because now I'm absolutely terrified.
That's the other thing I gave him the speech. That's what jogged my memory.
Yeah. Well,
okay. Well, on my low side, This is a small low after a great week, but is there anything worse than unpacking? I don't know it.
I actually am
Have
one
you
of
unpacked?
those. Well, here's the thing is this time I haven't fully unpacked because I had 2 bags and I made
That's so
Phil.
off-brand.
I know. Well, so we went to the Masters and I flew from the Masters to the work trip. So one of the bags is unpacked. The one that I had Phil take home is not unpacked. And it honestly, it's like I used to be compared to a serial killer. You know how they say, like, if you come home from your trip and you unpack within 30 minutes, are you a serial killer? Like,
I
question mark.
never heard that, but that's
yeah, it's a thing. True. And I always like question myself because I love to unpack right away.
Oh,
but it's the worst.
It's terrible. I have a real like suitcase sits there for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time I look at it, oh God, I have so much laundry to do.
That's why you have to get it over with. That you just have to get it over with. Phil's the same way. He lets it sit. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, I'm looking at his bag right now, just sitting there.
Good thing you're so chill. Those eyebrows tell a story.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. So then yesterday, I finally was like, let me do it. So I just did a boatload of laundry yesterday for me, for Calvin, for Grace. Like, got the whole thing. I won't do Chris's, but anyways, got us back to a decent place going into the week, which is a good feeling. But
that is. Well, unpack that bag.
This is my big issue with camping, even though I think camping's fine. The unpacking of the camp trip, because you have to pack so much stuff. It's like, it almost makes the whole thing not worth it.
Well, that is a really hard thing because like the tent, nothing goes back the same. You got the bins, everything's dirty. You think you've brought bugs home. Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the topic. Why don't you tee it up for us again so I can really get my rant energy fueled here?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, I do feel like the school calendar is really difficult because as much as you plan ahead, things always come up. And the real kicker to me is we've talked a lot about there's a lot of vacation. There's a lot of off time. We like almost once or twice a month have a half day that's built into the system because our public school, the way it works is they give teachers a half day of planning every 2 or 3 weeks. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's more frequent than a month.
It's very frequent. But I can get past some of these days that they give you ahead of time, right? You can plan ahead. What frustrates me is that every single activity or school thing that you need to be there for your kid, right? Like they have a program. They have different reading, like read along with a parent. Go to the breakfast with the kid. Go to their gym class.
Tea for two.
Field trip. All of these things. Field day. All of these things are during work hours. And it's a lot. And they have a lot at one time. And so as a working parent, I feel so guilty because I'm trying to make it all. But there are times like last week when I was actually traveling for work, I couldn't make the field trip. And Lola was so upset I wasn't a volunteer. They rescheduled the kindergarten program because we had tornadoes come through. And it happened to be rescheduled on the day I was out of town. Like, you just feel like garbage. And I just don't think they think about what it's like to be a working parent who can't make these things and the guilt you have with it. So that's what the whole topic is about. It's frustrating.
I know.
And I don't know how you fix it either, because is it just like, oh, you just skip work, you have to go? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how do you balance it all?
I do think, before we get into solutions, let me just kind of continue to bitch here. I'm not done.
Yeah, no, I've just started.
The one that really boils my blood in terms of inconsiderate towards working parents is our first grade year. They do something called early bird, late bird. And it is a staggered start and end to every single day by 50 minutes. So
when is this, for a week, or what is that?
No, all year, first grade. Oh my gosh. The entire school year. So if you get late bird, everybody else starts at 8:50 or 8, you start at 8:50. Think about what that means for parents.
Yeah.
Think about the double drop off, because most people have multiple kids.
Right.
You drop one kid at 8 and another kid at 8:50.
That's insane.
And then if you're early bird, you have the same issue on the tail end. And of course, the buses don't accommodate the earlier schedule.
Stop it. The buses don't run for early birds?
No. So
that's insane.
Yeah. It's truly nuts. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, I don't care if they are sitting there staring at each other in a circle with minimal supervision.
Right.
They need to be on your watch.
Yeah.
You watch them.
Right.
Because I need my kids to take the bus. They can't take the bus if there's no one to watch them. They won't take them. So if you're late bird, you're SOL. And there's kind of, again, like, one, I hate that schedule. But two, it's like, there's not even, I don't feel enough empathy around it. Like, hey, we know this is super hard. We're doing it for these reasons. And they're doing it because they want smaller groups for these reading sections. But I'm like, figure something else out. I don't care. And I don't even think with Grace, when she went through it, I personally didn't even notice like a huge difference.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't think it's worth it. And
figure out a solution of them at school doing it. Separate them at school.
Put them in the library for 15 minutes every morning. I don't care.
Right.
But
that's insane.
Insane.
I didn't.
And to your point, the one that gets me too is like, we just had a week off. Why do we have next Monday off? Like the Monday after Easter. I don't mean to sound non-religious here, but like,
we have Friday off. They call it a spring holiday because we're a public school, but they call it spring holiday. But we have Friday off.
That's what ours is. They can't call it anything religious. But
I'm like,
come on, we don't want this.
Right.
Well, we don't want this. Shorten the school year if you have to, because I can come up with something more consistent in the thing. But like, if it's not a bank holiday, where I think like if it's a bank holiday and the parents are also off work, great.
Yeah.
I'll take President's Day. Yeah. I'll take Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yep.
The Monday after Easter?
Well, it's even just...
Who's off work for that day?
You just had spring break, right? We're sick of them. For that.
We're sick of them. Keep them.
Yes, I agree. There's just too many holidays, it seems. Again, there are things that come up, like we were off for 2 days, a day and a half for storms that came through. And yes, they were bad storms, but it just, that wasn't expected. You know, then you have a half day, then you have all these things. It's just, let's move to this. We all know the pain of this, right? You're not making certain things. You feel horrible. You are making stuff, but you're slacking with work. Mm-hmm. Or you're a non-working parent, but you have other kids and siblings. And a lot of those
or obligations of any kind.
Of any kind. But you can't take the siblings sometimes to a lot of these events.
Totally.
You know, and it's like, so you have to get childcare in the middle of the day. It's all hard. But how do you handle it with your own kids if you have to miss an event? Let's go there.
Well, my startup before this one required a ton of travel. We were super global. I had clients all over the world. I traveled easily a week, a month.
It's so much as a mom. It's just hard.
And sometimes it was one trip all week and sometimes it was 2 trips.
Right.
But it was a good month if I was only gone 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, when they were little babies, I mean, I would cry on the plane. I was like so devastated to leave. But I also was like, felt trapped between a rock and a hard place, because it's like, shit, we need this deal. Right. And the clients, these big enterprise clients want this kind of attention, or I have to go to this conference that's freaking in New York or Milan or Vegas or wherever.
Right.
So one, I just tried to travel as least as I possibly could, but still it was a ton. And 2, I just like got better at it. Like I got better at the guilt, and I like have this thing with my kids where I go, yep, it's tough to have a working mom. Yep. It's tough, Yeah.
Make it not a big deal to them, because I
empathize with them, because they see friends whose moms are at everything, and they even say, why can't you be like so-and-so, and it's like,
it's heartbreaking.
I just say, well, so-and-so doesn't work, and I tell them, I like work, like, yes, I need to work, or else we could not afford all this. Like, we're a dual income family and we need every bit of it.
Right.
And then some. Right. But also, like, I like my job. And I hope that when you're an adult, you feel like you can choose to work if you want to.
Right.
Or if you need to.
I do think it shows them a strong, powerful person, female. It's like,
but that doesn't make sense to a 6-year-old. That's for sure.
Well, and in the future, they maybe respect you for what you do or whatever, but it is really hard. And you, as the parent, want to be there.
I know.
And where I get frustrated is is like you were saying, when you feel like you have to go for work because you're closing a deal or whatever, it hits a little different. There are moments though, and like last week, the travel didn't seem worth it to me. We didn't in retrospect, you wouldn't have known. We were hoping for something a little bit different. We'll get into that. But the point is there's a lot of people who travel who aren't closing a deal to travel. They're just required to travel to do regular meetings or whatever. Right. I used to have to do that with my old job. Mm-hmm. And as I got older and I started to have more kids, I actually didn't want the same career path that I had previously. That's kind of why I pivoted altogether, and now we're doing our own thing.
Because it didn't have enough flexibility.
It didn't have enough flexibility. And every single person was asking themselves, why are there not females in the C-suite of the last company, or that many? And the answer is because they don't have a stay-at-home husband. Like you cannot do it all if you want a family. And when you're required to do 70, 80, 90% travel for your job, it becomes not something that most people want if they want that work-life balance. And I hate that you have to choose.
Work-life balance, to be honest with you. It's just flexibility to run a family.
Yes.
I actually think that's different because I think it's actually a little bit of a dangerous, like, oh, we want more balance. It's like, listen, there is no balance going on here. Like, to be clear.
Right.
I want flexibility so I can go to some, not even all, of my kids' activities.
Right.
Some, not all. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with practice that sometimes starts at 4 p.m. and field trips and this and that, it's like, like I need more flexibility, or like, honest to God, just days off school where somebody's got to watch them.
Right.
Or sick days. So here's what, like, again, not to like go on like such a rant, but the problem when you have not enough moms in power positions at a lot of these companies is the policies of those companies just do not give enough flexibility. And even now, like I thought COVID and the shift to work remote was so helpful for parents and moms. Mm-hmm. And then now everybody's like, oh, you got to go back in the office. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again, these policies are being set by men that do very little of the family management, or their kids are older or they don't have kids.
Right.
But it's like, again, you don't have women who value that kind of flexibility in those decision-making things. And it's a bad chicken and egg. Like, they didn't get there because the policies didn't fit them and they couldn't get up the ladder. Right. And it's just like, we got a bad, I know you hate when I say chicken and egg, but this is a bad chicken and egg. Like, the policies are not going to change till you get women at the top, and the women aren't going to get to the top without different policies. So we are at a stalemate, I fear, in a lot of cases.
Right. Yeah. And I have seen so many very smart, intelligent, capable women taking a step back in their career, not even just to not work altogether, but taking a step in their current trajectory to say, I'm just going to stay in this level of management.
I want to prioritize. I want to prioritize.
Kids. And that is so frustrating. And they're viewed negatively upon when I'm like, that person is way smarter than you. You just happen to not like choose the same path from a family standpoint. And it really, it just frustrates me so much.
And I have a ton of respect for that choice. Like, that wasn't an easy choice for them to make.
No.
They knew what they were giving up.
Right.
But and then we always say like the
female loses themselves because they feel like they've made these choices later in life when your kids are older, but they've made the right choice for themselves. And it's just frustrating because it is a little like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Mm-hmm. And I have stayed home with the kids, and that's really hard too. I like to work, but I don't want to not be a part of my kids every day. I don't want to not coach a team because I don't have the time personally.
Right.
And I don't want to not make an event on a Thursday afternoon where my kid's going to be the only kid without a parent in the classroom. And so you just kind of have to give and take a little bit.
And the one thing that I do is I just make sure I value that. Like, this job that we picked to do your own company is so stressful. In a bunch of ways. But the thing that I focus on is like, I have ultimate flexibility.
Right.
Now, still, there aren't enough hours in the day for all the flexibility that would be needed to manage that school calendar.
Right.
So I also tell my kids, I can't go to everything.
Right.
And I'm trying to really work. I think you have it a little worse than me in terms of the mom guilt.
Yeah.
And I don't think my daughter twists the knife less than Lola. Grace is in here. do you have to, Mom? Like, oh, like the saga of every work trip has tears on my exit. Like,
yeah. Well, and I feel like I've given them that narrative a little bit, which is like, I feel bad. So I talk to them about it. Like, listen, I would want nothing more than to be at this thing for you. Like, I love you so much, but I do have to do this work thing.
Yeah.
And then that narrative keeps playing. You know, I kind of like screw myself over a little bit because then
you make it dramatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Shocking. And makes them something dramatic.
I know. But it is true. Well, here's what I say though for myself is I do have a lot of that guilt. And we do a really good job of making a lot. Like I will say, you and I we've made our whole culture of Sage try to make every event for your kids or whatever that thing is for you. It doesn't have to be kids. So we do a really good job, but there are still moments that we have to do stuff and travel and miss some things. But if I take a step back and my kid knows that I'm at everything, almost everything I can be at, if they feel loved and they feel the follow-up of that, like we weren't able to make that program, but we send her flowers to the house. So when she got home from school, she had flowers to make her feel special. It doesn't have to be a gift, but just we're thinking of you. We also got the DVD, who has a DVD nowadays of the program. And we're going to have like a popcorn night where we watch the DVD together on the couch.
A little bit too much, but
maybe. Right. But like for me, it made me feel better in this moment.
What do you think? Let's actually double tap onto your mom guilt.
Yeah.
Where do you think the source is?
I mean, I don't know.
Because
I think
you
it's
do
just
a ton. You don't feel that? Like if your expectation is 100% attendance at everything?
I think it's my personality. Like, could I have prevented Lola from falling? She followed her kid. She did the opposite of what I've told her to do, which is don't go down the hill. We didn't know she went over there in that moment. We thought she was doing the same loop she always does. Kids will be kids. She followed kids. I don't think I could have prevented her falling from falling off her bike in this moment.
Of course not.
But all I think about is what I could have done differently. I think it's just a personality thing. Like, should I have been out there and like watched her go? Like, you know,
I
like
need to get Mel Robbins out here again? Let them.
I know.
You're a control freak. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe. But like, I just think that I want to be the best mom I can be. And I do think
that expectation cannot be 100% attendance at items.
I know. Like, so I do think I have to get rid of that.
You need to lower your bar.
Right.
You need to lower that bar. Because, again, comparing yourself to a fake perfection.
Right.
And then feeling bad every time you miss. Like if your bar was at 75% attendance.
Yeah.
Which
then it would be great because I'd be
a huge amount of stuff.
Right.
You're well above that. Then you feel like you're doing great.
I will say, this is why it's so important to have girlfriends because I will go have a drink with my girlfriends or just hang out with them. And we all share stories and they're similar and it makes me feel better. And
normalizing pain.
And everybody's different. Like in my really core group of friends, there are a few that work, there are a few that don't. Like it's not about like the job or what it is. Every parent has guilt in some way. And I think by us talking about it, normalizing it, we're relieving each other's guilt a little bit. And I think it's super important.
I just feel like we got to figure out how to lower the bar. And I do wonder if, like, I don't know, like there was parents in the 50s, like I think of Grandma Mary, like our grandma. I get my vibe on her is she wasn't feeling too much mom guilt.
I love that about her though.
Me too.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
She was a total regal badass who raised 5 kids seamlessly. Like she wasn't stressy and like worried about, she wasn't putting them in bubbles and she wasn't blaming herself for everything that went wrong. She blamed her own kids for things that went wrong. And I respect it.
It's a cultural shift, do you think?
I do. I honestly think we spend more time with our kids than any generation before. We safety them and put them in bubbles more than any generation before. It makes me wonder if we were conditioned to do that because of social media or 24/7 news or, any of the other technology shifts that maybe collectively put us in this state where we're more aware of what can go wrong.
Right.
Or if it's just the combination of, I mean, who knows? It could be 9/11. It could be recession. It could be, like all the things that we've gone through, COVID. It could be these things that like we collectively have gone through.
Right.
that makes us feel like that. It's also like we haven't experienced any major wars in our lifetime, not to take away from the Middle East and what's happening now in different pockets of the world, but not on the scale of like what our parents went through or our grandparents. So it's like, again, I wonder if the perspective has shifted because of it could be 100 things, but my point is, I do believe we're the first generation with this much mom guilt.
Right.
It seems like. Collectively, not just you. I mean, I think you're in very good company. And I think I do this like maybe just a smidge better than most. And I still have some, you know?
I do think we should just take a step back and look at the whole thing, right? Like in a week, month, year, are you with your kids? Do your kids feel loved? Do you feel like you have that family dynamic that you want? And I think the answer is yes.
$1,000,000%.
$1,000,000%. When you go down to the nitty gritty of like last week, I missed 2 things because I was traveling, you feel horrible. But if I take a step back, I've made everything else this semester or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like you do need to take a step back and realize as a whole.
It's perspective.
Right. And if your percentages are off further when you've gotten to a month or a year, you might need to look at and see what you can change, you know? Like to see what you can do to try to get that percentage more to what you want. You know what I mean?
I also think there is like a touch of privilege here because there are some women in lower socioeconomic pockets that have zero choice on the hours that they work. They have zero flexibility.
100%.
And I remember one of my mom friends from Evansville, our hometown in Indiana, she teaches at a school where they have zero parent volunteers for anything because she's like, our families, 100% of them work and 100% of them have like no flexibility.
No flexibility.
So we never have a mom that comes on a field trip.
Right.
We never have a parent volunteer in the cafeteria. And I was kind of thinking about that and I'm like, that's a lot of people. And so in some ways, like even the expectation of flexibility is like a
privilege. 100%.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think about that a lot. I think and have a such appreciation for single parenting. It's just
how many times do I go, how do single parents do this?
I know. And my mother-in-law was a single parent for a very long time. And I just have so much respect for her. And
there's no way she made it to everything. She was a nurse. Like she was busy. She had shifts. Like that's not a flexible job.
Right.
Well, most of the time.
Well, I know it's just, it's impossible when you have,
and what does Phil remember? How much she did.
Not how much she,
not the things she didn't.
Right.
He remembers how hard she worked and what she did. And I truly believe, you know, a 6-year-old has zero perspective. When the bag is packed, they cry. You know, my 8-year-old's dramatic. When the bag's packed, oh, I'm going to get a manipulative theatrical performance, you know? Yeah. And I'm not saying they don't feel it. I think they literally wish I wouldn't go. And they were hoping to do X, Y, and Z with me when I'm gone. And there's disappointment there.
Right.
Like, I get that. And I truly believe they'll look back at their childhood and go, man, we were lucky.
Yeah. We were loved. We were lucky.
Yeah, here's the thing. And they'll just remember the things we did do, not the things we didn't do.
Something you said just hit me too. We as parents and just humans have to give grace to others too. The judgment, I think part of the guilt that parents hold is that they feel judged potentially by other parents. Like, you know, we always say it's the age-old debate. Working mothers versus the stay-at-home, right? And like we shouldn't be put against each other. It's like we're all fighting a battle that we're trying to get through, and there's a lot of bonding there. So like, don't judge the other person.
Do you see that in your community? I don't know that I mean, I've heard that narrative before, and I certainly have like read about that narrative. I have to admit, in my community where it's about half and half, stay at home and working, I don't feel that. And I'm on the working side of it, but it's like, I don't know. I think everyone is being pretty kind about it. I don't know. Are you seeing something different?
I'm seeing a little bit behind the scenes of people saying stuff about
and I might just be missing it.
Yeah. I do think it's maybe gotten a little bit better, but it does feel a little like when you're super involved in the school and you're a volunteer and you're a stay-at-home that has that flexibility, you maybe tend to judge somebody who's not able to make everything or volunteer because you feel like you're giving a lot of your time and vice versa. You know, like the work, I have a couple working mom friends who tend to kind of not talk trash, but just like, well, yeah, that wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that, And it just feels a little bit like light tension where we should all just understand and respect that our situations might be different and just like give grace. It's like,
there might be some jealousy of there too. It's one thing to choose.
It's all jealous. It's all
and
like
it's another if you have
100%,
to.
right? It's all feeling defensive or guilty about something on your side that is putting that on somebody else. But like, there's the under the breath talk of course, of course.
I don't know. I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mom, but like that sounds terrible to me. It sounds so hard. It sounds way
really
harder
hard
than working to me.
I've had both sides of it, and it was some of the hardest moments for me were staying home with the kids because I didn't have my own outlet. And we could go into that too, but I have seen both sides, and that was really hard. Really hard.
Well, especially when they're little. Maybe it does get easier as the kids are in school and you have more hours to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But maybe you've paid your dues a little bit too, and you like need that time since you've spent all those years when they were young home.
So I think that's the only reason you made it through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. But schools, if you're listening, less days off. Thanks.
Yeah, less days off. Everybody give each other grace. We're all trying to
figure out this early bird, late bird shenanigans, please.
That's nutso. I have not heard of that, and we don't have that here. So I'm really like, I guess that's a check for us over here. Misery loves company. It's like, oof, that's way worse.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, luckily it's just 1 year, but
yeah, still.
Agreed. All right, cool. Well, do you want to get into the in matter? What is your obsession this week?
My obsession is I got these new Nike shoes for the Masters last week, and they're like rose pink with white. And they're
you told me last week you weren't going to buy new shoes. You were just going to wear what you had.
Yeah, I did. And then I tried them on and said, forget this.
Okay, what did they look like? I'll get into it now.
They're like the low Nike Dunks, the low.
I think I know. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're
very like the panels on the inside are colored and the outside.
Yeah, and they're white in a color usually. And I have the black and white ones, and I wear them endlessly. Mm-hmm. And I got the rose pink and white ones.
That sounds nice.
And the rose pink to me is less little girl than the other pink ones. Like they have a hot pink, they have a light pink. Yeah. This one to me feels, I don't know if it's because like, our we have a Sage Parents Lululemon satchel bag that's like a rose
it's almost
color.
A mauve, I would say.
A mauve. It matches those perfectly.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
It's a spring shoe. It's making me feel good. Because they're new, I realized how dirty my old ones are. So
a fresh pair of kicks is a vibe. It feels great.
Yeah. So that's my new obsession, and I've gotten a couple compliments. Obviously, I told you it was a drinking game last week because my whole outfit was on point. And had I not gotten those shoes, would I have got those compliments? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Okay.
So anyways, that's
my obsession. I do think you'll wear them.
Yes.
Now, what shoes are you throwing out to make room in your closet for these new shoes?
Haven't done that yet. I knew you were going to say that. I actually bought a new set. I actually bought a new set of hangers because I have overused my hangers, which means I didn't throw away clothes as I started to replenish, but it's still staying somewhat organized. Kate helping me a few months ago reorganize my closet was very much
Ian's a hoarder. I haven't brought it up in a while, so I'll just like reiterate that here.
Yeah. I've done so much better, but it still looks neat.
One thing in, one thing out.
Yeah, I didn't
You didn't have extra room in that closet.
I'll tell you what I brought in, 30 new hangers.
No, that's the worst thing you could have brought in. There wasn't 30 more slots. It's going to be so jam-packed in there. It's like you're not going to be able to see what you got.
Well, my friend next door, shout out to Catherine, love you. She had so much stuff in her closet, it fell. And so she got a whole new closet. She reorganized and rebought like organization.
I hope she purged some things in that process.
She did, but she also got a whole new closet. So maybe I'm just banking that my closet will fall and I can get a whole new reorganization.
Mm-hmm. That's one strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's your obsession?
I deleted Instagram 5 days ago.
No, you didn't. Did you? So you haven't seen my master's photos?
No.
Oh.
Can you send them? Text them to me.
Actually, Phil posted. I didn't, but you still could have seen them.
Well, still send them to me. I am interested. And that is the worst part about deleting it. And I know that some of my good friends were posting probably cute spring break pics I would have loved to see.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing I realized. When things are stressful, like just a lot going on and like the addiction of it was starting to take hours I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I would mindlessly open that thing. And when my baseline stress is higher, again, we're about to launch, I'm fundraising, hectic, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the baseline goes up. And when my baseline is up, I mindlessly scroll more, which is exactly the worst thing I could do. Yeah. Because then it eats the extra time and doesn't make me feel good on the whole. Mm-hmm. So I just had this moment where I'm like, it's crunch time. I need to be peak performance.
Okay.
What are the things that put me in peak performance mode? What are the things that take me further away from peak performance mode?
For you, it was Instagram.
For me, I deleted Instagram and I now have a hard rule, no news in the morning or the night. I can only read news, and this is any kind of news. This is, I read the Wall Street Journal. I read a bunch of newsletters that I get. I was reading them.
Are you feeling left out? Do you know what's going on? Did you know what went on today in the world?
No, not yet. I haven't looked.
Katy Perry went to space. Did you know that? She made it back safely. You're welcome.
I don't know how I lived without that knowledge this morning. I didn't know that. That's the thing. It's like, here's the sacrifices that you make for this. One, I would have loved to see your master's pictures. Please text them to me. I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting 100% of the friend content that I would truly love. Mm-hmm. That's a bummer. Mm-hmm. Some of the news stories I'm getting slightly later. Mm-hmm. When I reflect on which news stories would have changed the trajectory of my day, 1/100th of what I was consuming.
Yeah.
So, and the other bit, it just wasn't putting me in peak performance mindset. It was putting me in I'm mad about that story. Oh, that story makes me feel bad. Like, I don't know. It was just like, again, sucking energy. Sucking energy or sucking time.
I'm with you. I think it's really good.
They're gone.
Yeah. If anything, if you were getting anything toxic from that, I think it's a super great step in the right direction.
Well, and I'll put Instagram on my computer. I'll go to it. Maybe even I'll check some pictures today.
Right.
But it's not, when it's on your computer, it's not the...
Yeah, it's way different.
I was unconsciously just opening that and spending time there.
Yeah.
Now I feel like, I'm less stressed. Like, I've like taken something, it's like, and again, the things that fuel me, that put me in my best headspace are...
It's great.
Reading books. Like, reading just helps me regulate. Not anxious. It's like,
put your mind onto something else, whatever the story is.
Well, it's just my mind's not being fragmented.
Right.
My mind's on one thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm a better performer when my mind is focused on one thing and I'm not like,
yeah. Totally.
So news was scattering me. Instagram was scattering me. So anyways, tuki, it's gone.
Well, I think that's super big. I unfortunately can't get rid of it because of work purposes.
Yeah.
Follow us at Sage Parents. Plug. But I will say, because I'm doing a lot of the work stuff, I go to my personal one less. Now I'm still consuming things, but I find when I'm overwhelmed or drained with the work stuff, I want to put it away. It doesn't make me want to go to my personal and look at my personal. So I think it is helping me a little bit, like, get away from it. Like,
well, and work will require that I get back on at some point. It's a break. I'm not saying it's like a forever thing, although I will say,
I love it. I think it's super healthy.
Just a little detox here and there. Yeah. Anyways.
Now, I will say one last thing. I get really annoyed at those humans who go on and off all the time and they post about it. I'm going off social media, and then all of a sudden they're back. It's like, welcome back. Did you miss me? It's like, no, we didn't. Also go back off. And then it's like, and then they do it again 60 days later. I'm taking a detox, wanting likes or something for them going off. I'm like,
totally.
Stop with the going away post. Stop with the coming back post. Just go and come as you please if you choose.
We didn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just, that's all of the things doesn't make me feel good about being on there in the first place. But it's like, just do the thing and don't talk about doing the thing. Yeah. Although I guess I just talked about doing the thing, but
I think it's a different format. I think you're all right to do it on the pod. And you said
it's not like I announced it. It's not like I announced it on Instagram.
Right. It's my nightmare.
And no one's noticed I've gone. I mean,
and it's always like some kind of like
selfie. If you need to send me a funny
reflected.
meme, text me. If you need to send me a funny meme, text me.
Yeah, it means you're getting nothing. I always forget that. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Anyways, that felt good. And can I just plug, I know you hate when I plug books because you think nobody cares, but if you haven't read Project Hail Mary, have you heard of this at all?
No, give me a little bit of Project Hail Mary.
I can see the eye roll.
People love books. I'm really happy for you giving the audience what they want. It's just, for me, I'm not sure.
Okay, but I've been totally engrossed in my new book, Project Hail Mary by Andrew Weir. Mm-hmm. He wrote The Martian. Remember with Matt Damon, goes to Mars, plants some stuff?
Yeah, he plants stuff on the ship or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first one. This is his next book.
Okay.
But here's why I think you might be interested. You ready?
Go on.
Enormous budget. I think to the tune of $650 million.
Oh my gosh, for the movie?
For the movie coming out. Ryan Gosling teed up as the star.
Oh yeah, Ryan.
You know, this is going to be A-list, high-budget blockbuster coming probably next summer. This is what it feels like, or maybe like next Thanksgiving.
I like when they make something into a movie because then I can watch it. Here's one thing I'll say. Ryan Gosling is having the best moment of his life, probably. Not just because of this movie. He's the number one Ryan now. Ryan Reynolds has really been in like a shit stirry situation going on. He's no longer the number one Ryan. Ryan Gosling has risen to the occasion.
I agree. Yeah. Now, remind me of Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I feel like the Blake Lively drama with the
he's in it. That's what it is. That's
the whole thing. Okay.
He's getting a lot of the heat from his like involvement in the Blake Justin Baldoni lawsuit stuff. I haven't heard much on it lately. Who knows? I didn't really care. But anyways, it's painted them in a negative light, and he kind of had this narrative, true or false, that was now he's the controlling husband who's jealous. It wasn't a good look, regardless of if it was absolutely fake. So anyways, Ryan Gosling has risen to the occasion as the top Ryan, in my opinion.
He's always been neck and neck, but I did feel like for a moment, Blake and Ryan Reynolds were at
they were it.
Oh, they were it. They were funny on. He's so good. He's a funny guy. So I felt like their comedy, their marriage, their million kids, they're hot.
Yeah.
Like
they used to do the like
cylinders.
Instagram, like cut the person out, like of the picture, funny. Like joke. It's laughable. Now people hate it. Now people are like, ugh, eye roll. This guy.
Well, the higher you get, people will cut you down. So in some ways, maybe it was natural. Although I will say, one, I didn't even really like that book. I didn't watch the movie because I didn't even like the content of the book. I don't think Blake Lively's a great actress. I think she's gorgeous, but there hasn't been one movie that I've been like, oh, you were outstanding.
Right. I don't know. Sister of the Traveling Pants. Great one.
Okay, that's her best one.
Yeah.
But like all her serious roles, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they're acting.
Yeah.
But I've loved their social posts and like the funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
But all it ends with us, the drama, I don't know. Ick is kind of my vibe.
I agree. And even that's the thing is I just don't want any part of it. So I have the ick factor no matter who's in the right or wrong. I don't care. Ick. I'm moving on.
But have you listened to enough celebrity gossip to have a side?
100% I have. I mean, you know that I only listen to like pop culture.
I'll just
podcasts.
believe I know, but you're more well informed. So whose side are we on?
Well, I will say that for a while it was going back and forth. For a while you were on Blake's side because of the sexual harassment that she filed. Then there were things that got debunked from that. So then she kind of came across like a liar. And to be honest with you, I have ended with I don't think either side is good. And I was Team Justin more than I was Team Blake for a while.
Okay.
But I think that there is both ick factors on both sides, and I want no part of it. So I think this
is
has
ending like a White Lotus. No likable characters.
No likable characters. So it actually is just like, I don't want a side. I want nothing to do with it. And if I see any of them have a movie or anything, I think it's been negative publicity is actually negative, not
everybody
just like
lose.
Everybody lost. Everybody lost. You lost. And as a fan, it's total loss.
You're a proxy for a lot of people, though. I will say that. Okay, well, getting back to my book, which I know people are chomping at the bit about. This is a fun, horrible lead up to apocalyptic, fun apocalyptic story.
Apocalyptic story. Not the sun is dimming.
Yeah,
people want to
scratch
read
the fun.
Yeah,
just beep that out. I I do love a survivalist story, though. So the sun's dimming, humanity's at risk. We have to take this risky mission to sort of like save humanity. So it's got a lot of space talk, but the major astronaut in it, also known as Ryan Gosling,
we're rooting for him.
He's very likable. Yeah. It's very pacey as, science books go. Because again, you got this sort of like humanity on the line and like a lot of characters and the world having to work together. Maybe that's also like a feel good aspect of it. It's like, right now it's like, can anybody get along in this actual world? Like everyone seems like they hate each other.
Totally.
What we need is a common enemy. We need the star to start dimming so we can all come together here to save humanity. Maybe that's not what we need.
That seemed too dark. But what I will say is
humanity bonding together is like uplifting here.
Totally. It's giving Armageddon. And there were plot holes.
It's giving Armageddon.
Gosh darn it. Did you love Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck? Like you were rooting for that 100%. I could still cry today thinking about that last scene.
I know. And I'm only 75% of the way through. I literally like can barely wait to finish my workday to like see how this ends. I don't know if we're going to
Maybe you should get Instagram back up. I don't know.
I don't know if we're going to get a drill that powers to the center of a meteor here. Different issue.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how it's going to end, but it's a real page turner.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for Ryan, honestly. I haven't thought about him being the number one Ryan, and now it's all I can think about.
Well, I also think, the way that he and Eva Mendes have managed their relationship, very 100%. Different than Ryan Blake. They're not trying to be stars. They're trying to keep their family out of it, and it actually feels healthy.
And Eva, I've actually researched a lot about Eva and her social media hatred because of what we're trying to do with Sage.
Ooh, we should get her on. Like, oh my gosh. On your list?
She's on our list, but she's anti-social media. She's I know. So it's great. It's like absolutely everything we're about, she's trying to promote. And I get it. If you're that big of a celebrity, I wouldn't want any of that either.
The one thing that's like kind of a funny issue is like, if she's not on social, how does she promote us?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why she...
conundrum.
Yeah. She's mission aligned. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally. Well, won't see on Instagram. Not on it. Anyways, fun book. Maybe we'll do a movie review when it comes out next summer or something.
2026 movie review.
Put it on the
Tune in.
Hot take. All right. Well, I'll never know what book I'll bring you next time.
Can't wait to watch that fun apocalyptic movie.
That was a horrible choice of words. It is a fun read though, somehow.
Oh, I love it. That's good.
All right. Let's wrap this puppy up. Please help us out. Throw us a bone. Share us with your group chat. Rate us 5 stars. Follow along at Sage Parents on Instagram or over on YouTube. Download our free guidebook for kids in tech over at sageparents.org/guidebook. And sign up for our safer messaging app for kids coming out very soon over at sagehavenforkids.com. Did I miss anything? We got it?
I think you got it. I think you nailed it. That's a
wrap.
wrap.
Right. Happy week, everybody. Take care.
Lilas.
Lilas.